All right, let's talk about something that feels like it's straight out of the future, but it's happening right now. We're going to look at a blueprint for a totally new way of working. A world where humans and AI aren't just tools and users, but true collaborators in what some are calling the agentic enterprise. So here's the game plan. First, we're going to talk about the mess we're all in right now. Then we'll introduce this brand new way of thinking called topics. We'll get into the nuts and bolts of how this organizational brain actually works and see what it looks like when AI becomes a real teammate. And then things get wild when we talk about predicting the future. Finally, we'll wrap up by looking at what all this means for you. All right, first up, let's talk about a problem that I'm sure everyone listening feels in their bones. That constant nagging feeling that you're always searching, always trying to catch up, and that the information you need is somewhere, you just don't know where. I mean, it's a real paradox, isn't it? We have more apps, more chat tools, more software than ever before in human history. So why does it feel like we're wading through digital mud half the time? We're drowning in notifications and context is scattered across a dozen different places. What is going on? Yeah, there's actually a name for this, organizational amnesia. It's this crazy idea that the company itself has forgotten what it knows. You know the feeling? That key file is buried in one app, the decision about it is in a chat thread from 3 weeks ago, and that new AI assistant you have, it's just kind of bolted on the side. It doesn't really understand what's happening. The result? We're flying blind. And this isn't just an annoyance, It has a massive, measurable cost. Think about this, 20%. That's one full day. Out of a 5-day work week, you're spending one entire day just looking for stuff. It's an incredible waste of our time, our energy, and frankly, our talent. It proves the system is broken. So here's a thought. Maybe it's not the apps that are the problem. Maybe the entire foundation is cracked. What if, instead of building more chat tools, we built something fundamentally different? What if we shifted from just communicating to creating shared intelligent context? Okay, this chart right here, this is the whole ballgame. On the left, you've got the old way, platforms built around channels, which are really just for talking. The AI is an afterthought, and the memory is basically a chat history that eventually gets lost. On the right is the new way. The core idea is the topic, a container for context. The AI is a native member from the start, and the memory, it's a permanent dynamic brain. It's a total shift. So let's be super clear. A topic is not just a fancy new name for a chat channel, not even close. You should think of it as the living, breathing brain for a project. It's where every file, every conversation, every decision, and every person and AI all live together. The key takeaway is this. The question, hey, where's that file? Just disappears. Because everything is already in the brain. Okay, so we've got this idea of an organizational brain. Sounds cool, right? But how does it actually work? How can it possibly remember everything perfectly and make sense of it all? Well, it boils down to two key pieces of technology. First, you've got the ledger. The simplest way to think about this is like a project's flight recorder. It's an unchangeable, undeletable, permanent record of every single thing that happens. Every message, every file, every task, it's all logged, creating a perfect auditable history of the project's life. And here's where the real magic happens. It's all in real time. The second a new message or file is added to the topic, the system instantly reads it, understands it, and converts it into a special format that machines can process. It then immediately indexes it in its memory. This means the brain is constantly learning, instantly, with every single interaction. So, once you have this perfect memory, this system that forgets nothing and understands everything, well, that's when things get really interesting. Because now you can introduce a whole new kind of team member. We're moving past AI as a tool and into the era of the digital colleague. And I need to be clear here, we are not talking about just another chatbot you ask questions to. This is a whole different league. This is about teams of specialized AI agents. One might be a research analyst, another a copywriter. They work together, managed by another AI, to autonomously execute complex projects. And this, right here, completely flips the script on how we work. The human role shifts from being the doer to being the orchestrator. We set the big picture goals, we provide the ethical guardrails, and we validate the final results. The AI agents become the executors. They do the heavy lifting, the data crunching, the first drafts. It's a concept called cognitive offloading, and it's so important because it frees us up to do what we do best: think, create, and strategize. So what does this actually look like day to day? Check this out. An AI agent, the copywriter agent, has read the marketing brief that was already in the topic's brain. It's created a first draft of a campaign and posted it for the team. Now, it's just waiting for a human to give the thumbs up, to apply an approved label, which will then automatically kick off the next step. That's human-in-the-loop automation, right there. Okay, let's recap. We've got a company with a perfect memory, and we've got AI teammates who do the heavy lifting. That's already mind-blowing. But believe it or not, that's not even the most powerful part. The real revolution begins when the system uses all that past data to start predicting the future. Now, I know this is going to sound like something out of a sci-fi movie, but what if your company could see a project's future before you even commit a single dollar? Because every action is perfectly recorded on that ledger, the system has this pristine dataset of its own history, and by applying a couple of powerful ideas, it can start to see what's coming next. The first piece of this puzzle is something called assembly theory. Now, don't let the name scare you. It's actually a pretty simple idea. Imagine you want to bake a perfect cake. If you analyze the recipes and results of 1,000 previous cakes, you start to learn the exact sequence and ingredients needed for success. The system does that with projects, learning the recipe for a successful outcome by analyzing its history. The second ingredient is called quantum retrodiction. Again, fancy name, simple concept. Think of it like a detective arriving at a crime scene. They look at the outcome, the scene, and work backwards to figure out the most probable sequence of events that led to it. The system does the same thing. It can look at a potential project failure and trace backwards to identify the most likely root causes. And when you put those two ideas together, whoa. The system stops just reacting to problems, it becomes proactive. A new project kicks off and the system instantly simulates its future. If it spots a high chance of failure, it raises a red flag before you've even started and can even suggest what to do about it. Hey, projects like this usually fail unless you add a data scientist, or you're missing this critical piece of market research. It's about fixing problems before they even are problems. So having this crystal ball, this ability to predict and steer projects, it's a total game changer for our jobs. It fundamentally alters what it means to be a knowledge worker. So let's bring it home and talk about what this means for you. See, in this world, your value isn't about how many emails you can answer or how many reports you can churn out. Your value comes from a higher level. You become the architect, designing the teams of AI agents. You're the editor, curating and validating what the AI creates. You're the librarian, making sure the system's brain is learning from high-quality information. And most of all, you're the strategist, focused on the why while you delegate the how. So that's where this is all heading. And it really brings us to one final crucial point. This whole evolution, it's not about replacing humans. It's about elevating them. It's about creating this incredible symphony of human creativity and machine intelligence. And you're the conductor. The technology is here. The only question left is, are you ready to pick up the baton?